Greetings, viewers. This is King H from Southern Cameroon, Ambazonia. Welcome to my channel. This is a Pan African channel. Please like, share, and subscribe. The Buckingham Palace is looking to improve diversity after the Duke and Duchess of Sussex made allegations of racism within the royal family. Now, Africa and Africans, you may think, what does the Buckingham Palace has to do with Africa? What does the Buckingham Palace have to do with somebody like me, an African? Well, a lot, especially when it comes to diversity and racism, which they have been accused of. Remember, the United Kingdom colonized multiple countries in Africa, many countries in Africa. And due to that, when those countries went to colonization, which also means dehumanization, because those countries that were colonized by the United Kingdom or the Buckingham Palace were in charge of the colonization, pretty much dehumanized Africans, made Africans less than human beings. And due to that, blacks all over the world, you know, are facing racism, are facing systemic racism, which was aided by the Buckingham Palace, which was you know created by the Buckingham Palace, because when they went around the country, the world, colonizing nations like Botswana, Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Sierra Leone, Malawi, Cameroon, Mozambique, you name it, they benefited and got the Buckingham Palace rich in all the resources that they need from Africa. In the process of colonization leads to the process of racism, because when Africans were colonized, they were being dehumanized, they were treated as less than human beings. Even to today, the Buckingham Palace does that, continues through the Commonwealth system. The Commonwealth system benefit the Buckingham Palace, doesn't benefit Africans. African countries are either under the Commonwealth or Francophonie. They're either under the United Kingdom, under the Queen, or under France. Many countries in Africa are being controlled, are being influenced by either the British or the United Kingdom or France. Of course, Germany did colonize many countries, but Germany lost all of their colonies, which means they don't have any country in Africa that they colonized, because they lost it after World War II. But the Buckingham Palace, the United Kingdom, still benefit from the countries that they colonize. France still benefits from the countries that they colonize. And this colonization, which goes to neo-colonization, and it's a process where it has set a system of racism within countries in Africa. So when the Buckingham Palace is saying they're trying to improve the diversity, this is the time for Africans, the youths who are suffering in the continent, to shake the shackles of colonization, the shackles of colonialism, neo-colonialism, the shackles of racism, which is all interconnected to the fact that African countries were colonized by either United Kingdom or by France. So it is time for us, when they're talking about improving the diversity, it affects the entire, or at least most of African countries, being it colonized by the British or the United Kingdom or by France, which we African countries or the African continent is still going through that nonsense, through that bullshit. So we must as youths shake the core, take off the Commonwealth and Francophonie institution out of Africa. Many other countries are part of the United Nations or they are part of the European continent, but they're not part of um, the Commonwealth or Francophonie. So why should African countries still suffer due to the fact that they were colonized by the United Kingdom, by the Buckingham Palace, or by France? French Africa must kick away with Francophonie institution because those are new colonization system. Those are still colonization system. They say we are free, but we Africans don't have the choice to leave the Commonwealth or the choice to leave um, the Francophonie institution. We must wake up from that. The Duke of Cambridge later said that the royals were not very much racist. And this was Prince William, saying that the royal family is not much racist. The royal family is the embodiment of racism. France with the government is the embodiment of racism. When you go around nations colonizing and forcing them to be part of your commonwealth and part of your Francophonie institution, that's discrimination, that's racism, that's neocolonization, and this is the time for African youths to deal away with all this system of racism. Because if we don't fight back, money, resources that's in Africa is leaving Africa because countries like Botswana, Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Sierra Leone, Malawi are part of the Commonwealth. Being part of the Commonwealth also means you have to pay a certain sum of money. Why give them that money when you need that money to build the nations in Africa? Why do we have to be part of the Commonwealth and be part of the Francophonie institution and as well be part of the United Nations? It doesn't make sense. All our money is being given out to those countries to make them enrich themselves so they could enjoy themselves. Meanwhile, the youths of Africa suffer. So we, the youths of Africa, must leave these slavery institutions because being part of the Commonwealth is a slavery institution. The royal family like to do things as a team, and if the team is being trashed, they like to react as a unit and a family. Yes, a family that has colonized nations like Uganda, Rwanda, South Africa, Zambia, colonized and benefited from these nations. We must wake up Africa and kick out the Commonwealth. We must get out from this institution that has enslaved Africa through the Buckingham Palace, through the Queen of England, who claims they are not racist when they got their riches from slavery, from enslavement, from colonization. The whole entire Buckingham system, no matter how you try to pretty it up, is a racist, degrading, dehumanization system that has done evil to Africa. And just because they're trying to, make it look good, doesn't take the fact that it is a racist institution against black people. As a matter of fact, Prince William did the most common trick when a white person is trying to say, "Oh, I have a black friend. I have a black friend. This is my black friend." That's to use that black friend to cover up for racism. As that's one of the trick that Prince William did when he brought up a chief of execution of Central Point, who is This guy was actually born in Nigeria, the same country that the Buckingham Palace colonized. So Prince William said, "This is my friend," and his name is Siya Obakin. He said, "This is my friend," blah blah blah, nonsense like that. Use that common trick when somebody with such power is using a black person to say, "Oh, this is my friend. I'm not racist." That is perfect racism. You've been accused of being racist, and then you say, "I have black friend." That means that you're not racist. No, man, you are racist, Prince William, whether you like it or not. The entire United Kingdom is racist, and the entire United Kingdom built their wealth on racism, on slavery, on colonization. That is a history that you will never run away from. And because countries like Botswana, Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya are part of the Commonwealth, a system that is using Africa to enrich the Buckingham Palace, a racist system. You can't beat that. So it is time for us, African youths, to fight against this Buckingham Palace institution, this United Kingdom institution that is trying to improve on the diversity. Some blacks will gain from this, but majority of black people will suffer because this is an institution that enriches. It's a system that enriches the the family in the Buckingham Palace. It enriches the queen and all the prince, and the people who suffer are Africans because a system has been created through colonization to enrich the United Kingdom. And because of that, many African countries and many African youths suffer. And then again, these same people who have enriched themselves from the African blood will still want to intervene in African business because they want to portray themselves as Christ-like. They're there to save Africa. They're there to save black people. They're there to no, no. The Buckingham Palace is a racist system, and they are trying to run away from their racist system that has enriched them. Africa, wake up and fight. It's time to kick the Commonwealth out of Africa. It's time to kick out the Francophonie countries, which is the counterpart of the United Kingdom when it comes to Africa. The Francophonie institution exploit countries like Benin, Burkina Faso, Burundi, Cameroon, the Republic of Congo. You look at the Republic of Congo, it's fucked up with war because it's one of the richest countries in the world in terms of resources that the United Kingdom needs. And not only the United Kingdom, France also needs it. Germany also needs it. So they find a way to partner up to enrich themselves from the resources of Africa. Meanwhile, in a country like Congo, the people are dying day in, day out. Over 5 million people have been killed because of the war that is going on in Congo, due to the fact that Congo is a resourceful nation. Africa, we must wake up and see the truth. The Francophonie institution, as well as the Commonwealth institution, is not good for Africa. We don't have to be part of these two institutions as well as the United Nations. Because being part of this nation, we have to pay a certain sum of money. And this, where is this money coming from? We're paying the Commonwealth. We're paying the Francophonie nations, and then we're also paying for the United Nations. Come on, man. We gotta get rid of these two institutions because when we do get rid of this institution, Africa, with its resources, will have more for the people, and many of our people will not have to run out of the continent in search of greener pasture. It's because of countries like the United Kingdom, countries like France that extort wealth from Africa and enriches themselves, pushes Africans to run out of their own continent of Africa. Though we do have devilish leaders, but the Western influence with countries like the United Kingdom, France, pushes the people of Africa out of Africa because they need the resources of Africa to enrich themselves. So we Africans must see the truth for what it is and stand against such devilish act. These are people who will do whatever they will have to get what they need, and then will try to portray a good side, a more Christ-like side. Meanwhile, also down dancing with the devilish ways to exploit Africans, the Commonwealth, and Francophonie institution. If we can get rid of these two institutions, if all the countries that are part of the Commonwealth in Africa are no longer part of the Commonwealth, and if all the French African nations that are part of the Francophonie institution are not part of the Francophonie institution, Africa will be a lot better. This is something that we must deal with in this 21st century. If we want Africa to be stronger, if we want Africa to be better, if we want Africans not to be running out of Africa, we must get rid of all the nations that are part of the Commonwealth and all the nations that are part of the Francophonie nation not to be part of this institution. The only institution that we should be part of, even though it's not perfect, is the United Nations, because that's a nation for all countries to come and sit and solve their problems. But being part of the Commonwealth, being part of the Francophonie, we don't have to be. Look at Germany. Germany lost all their colonies. They don't have any colony, but they still do business in Africa. Why is it that uh, we are part of the Commonwealth and as well part of the Francophonie institution, and then still we're forced to do certain business? We cannot, African countries cannot make certain decisions without the influence of the Commonwealth, without the influence of France. We must get rid of these two institutions if we want to make Africa stronger. This is something that is better for all Africans. Some Africans will see it, some don't. But these two institutions are not good for Africa, and we must get rid of it. And the Buckingham Palace, if they are truly uh, fighting to improve their diversity in the Buckingham Palace, then this is something that they should look. But then again, they will not. They don't want countries in the Commonwealth, African countries in the Commonwealth, to leave the Commonwealth, because the fact that they left the European Union is because they have more countries in Africa and India and other countries in Australia where they can do business and still stay rich without being part of the European Union, which in a way wasn't making them grow. So, but if they're not, if countries that are of the Commonwealth, African countries that are of the Commonwealth are not part of the Commonwealth, you will see the United Kingdom will run back to the European nation. It's because they have resources available in the countries that they control or have influence in Africa that are part of the Commonwealth that gave them that emboldened them to leave the European Union. But we Africans We Africans must see the truth and fight against such injustice and racist system that is being used to exploit Africa. Wake up. This is King H.